snow dissipating after 6 a.m., moving out of the region, but not before doing its damage. So while tomorrow, like today, for the most part, will be a bright day, it's what happens tonight that will really affect the roads. So the impact's far-reaching tomorrow, pinpoint weather alert day as well. So up and down the divide, we're going to see some pretty good snows here, especially east of the divide. And once you get into places like Estes Park, and especially the mountains west of Boulder and into Genesee Conifer, those will be your highest totals probably. And I really wouldn't be surprised if we saw 10, 11, 12 inches of snow in a couple of spots. We're going for 2 inches now in Denver. We may need to double those totals, but I mean, either way, whether it's 2 inches or 4 inches, the impacts will be the same as far as the roads go. They're going to be very slippery with the highest totals Metro West and South. So here's your heads up. Here's your weather forecast. Again, you go outside, it's a perfectly serene morning out there. 37 will be the high today, 39 in Parker, 41 in Burlington. So the change today compared to yesterday, the much colder air, of course, 46 in Salida today, will be close to 50 at Grand Junction and Durango. So today and tomorrow, a pinpoint weather alert day. All right, guys, that's the weather forecast. I'll have much more on this coming up in the next half hour. Stay with us. We've got more right after this.
Live from Denver, this is Fox 31 News. We're on it.
Welcome back. Time for the Fox 31 Morning Rush. A quick look at this morning's top stories before you head out the door.
And it is a pinpoint weather alert day, so we're going to get started with Brooks because we've got a system rolling in this afternoon. Brooks.
Yes, indeed. And you know what? You'd never know it going outside. It's beautiful out there right now. Temperatures in the teens and 20s. We're going to warm things up to 37. Clouds rolling in by midday and snow to follow. In fact, this evening's commute is going to be a snowy one. I'll break it down for you coming up hour by hour. We'll talk the totals and the impacts where you live in Colorado's most accurate forecast.
This morning, Boulder police are searching for a guy who's been threatening people in downtown Boulder. 2 reports of this guy over the past 48 hours. His weapon of choice is a machete. In both cases, he has pulled a machete and threatened his victims. Fortunately, no one has been hurt as of yet. But if you have any information about this guy, police say he's a white man in his 30s, about 5'10", 5'11", 160 pounds. He carries the machete in the back, in a backpack, a black backpack. If you have any information whatsoever, again, he is armed and dangerous. Police say do not approach. Please contact the Boulder Police.
Happening today, Colorado Parks and Wildlife hosting a workshop on reintroducing the gray wolf into our state. You can take part live on YouTube, 9 o'clock this morning. We'll also be streaming it on Kdvr.com and the Fox 31 News app. Colorado voters approved a ballot measure back in November that instructs the CPW Commission to prepare this plan. CPW says its plan is to reintroduce gray wolves to western Colorado by 2023. So definitely there was some controversy around that, and obviously some folks voted against it, but it did pass. So now CPW is following that and moving forward with that, and we're on it. As we just get started here, we're not even halfway finished as the other big networks in town are going to flip on over to pre-recorded news out of New York City. We just can't stop, won't stop. We keep going on this Pinpoint Weather Alert Day.
That's right. We're live and local all the way until 10 a.m. We got 3 more hours to go. Plenty of news headlines you haven't seen on this Pinpoint Weather Alert Day. Stick with us. The Fox 31 Morning News at 7 o'clock starts right now.
Live from Denver, this is Fox 31 News at 7. We're on it.
Colorado's next COVID vaccination phase could start as early as March 5th, making the shot available to food service and grocery store workers, your mail delivery person, pastors, priests, and faith leaders, other essential workers as well, and people 16 and older with at least 2 high-risk health conditions. But some hurdles getting the vaccine to everyone. Clear Creek County's vaccine shipment a no-show this week, delaying appointments until next month. Other vulnerable communities have trouble even getting a first dose. Walmart, one company hosting vaccination events just for those groups.
So while there have been those vaccination struggles, there are also some vaccination milestones as we certainly are making progress. One county here in the metro saying they've hit that 70% of 70 and up population vaccination rate, which is the goal set by the governor. Good to have you, by the way. 7 o'clock. It's Wednesday. I had to think about that for a second. Happy Wednesday morning. I'm Kurt Youngke.
I'm Megan O'Halloran. If you're just waking up with us, we've called a pinpoint weather alert. Advancing that, we've got a system moving in later this afternoon. Let's get to Brooks. He's timing it out for us.
You know, and I'm kicking myself because I forgot my sunglasses this morning. I was just looking outside at that sun coming up thinking, oh man, I got to drive home in that glare. So you may be asking, what's up with this Pinpoint Weather Alert Day? It's beautiful this morning. Well, here's the scoop. Today is one of those case in points why it's always good to stay up with the weather forecast and watch Fox 31 every morning, because we've got some fast changes coming in, and there'll be impactful changes. Those changes including snow for the evening commute. So we wanted to give you an alert early on so you could plan accordingly, maybe leave the office an hour early. We're going to have snow developing after 3 o'clock, and from 4 till 5, those snow showers should start to result in a little bit of accumulation on the side of the road, at least those less traveled lanes. And certainly after sunset, once the sun gets low in the sky, about 5:30 or so, the snow will start to rapidly accumulate on the roadways. Temperatures falling below freezing from daytime highs around 37. Winter weather advisories from Wyoming all the way down to New Mexico. By the way, in the Springs, they're dealing with freezing drizzle this morning, so they've got a winter weather advisory now for that. But for us, we're talking about snow. Our winter weather advisory kicks in at 5 p.m., goes until 6 a.m. tomorrow. 4 to 8 inches for Metro West and South. For Denver, looks like about 2 to 4 inches of snow, probably leaning toward those higher amounts in Denver. Here's a live view outside. I mean, look at that. I mean, you can see I might be toast as far as the sunglasses problem goes on my way home at lunchtime. 19 degrees, but you know, maybe those clouds are rolling just a little bit sooner. Looks like the clouds definitely rolling by 3 o'clock. 17 in Greeley, 24 at Castle Rock. Your hour-by-hour forecast featuring 31 by 10, 37 degrees by 2. That's about 11 degrees colder than normal, guys, and then all bets are off for the evening commute. We'll talk about that Thursday morning commute as well coming up.
All right, thank you, Brooks. 7:02, Walmart planning to launch a community event in an effort to get more vaccines in the arms of vulnerable populations here in Colorado.
And it's updating its policy on second doses after widespread frustration about people's struggles to schedule that second dose with Walmart. Fox 31's Emily Allen joining us live from a Walmart out in Aurora with an update. Good morning, Em.
Good morning, Megan and Kirk. Walmart hosting an event here inside of the Garden Center at this Walmart off of Tower Road. And it's important to note, too, Walmart says it chose this location because of its proximity to vulnerable populations. Again, this event happening on Friday at this Walmart on Tower Road. This event is for people eligible to receive the vaccine in Colorado right now. That includes people over the age of 65, healthcare workers, and educators. You must schedule an appointment online. The vaccine is free, and for those over the age of 65, Walmart is asking you bring your Medicare card. The Walmart says that it will be hosting more events like this one in coming weeks, focusing on locations that offer the best access to people in vulnerable populations. Another big update from Walmart, it will now schedule the second dose for people. Walmart came under fire after it left people on their own to find an appointment for a second dose. And we heard from a lot of you that you were struggling to find appointments online. The state health department contacted Walmart and said that the corporation had to change its policy, make sure that it lined up with the state policy on second doses. And so now moving forward, Walmart will make an appointment for people for their second dose. Walmart is going to be hosting more events like the one on Friday in the coming weeks. And as soon as we get more details on when and where those events will be happening, of course, we'll let you know. Emily Allen, Channel 2 News and Fox 31.
All right. Yeah, good to have you here, Emily, and definitely impacts a whole lot of people as they're just trying to get more and more of those vaccines out. We appreciate the update. A woman from Boulder, quite the story to tell. After spending almost 2 days lost and stranded in the wilderness near the Eldora ski resort outside of Boulder.
Can you even imagine? 47-year-old Jennifer Cornell. She takes an RTD bus up to Eldora Nordic Center 3 to 5 times a week to hike and snowshoe. But her visit on Sunday obviously did not go as planned. She ended up lost and stranded off the Jenny Creek Trail. She had to spend the night in the cold and snow. A search team assembled Monday morning. After 8 hours, they finally found Jennifer about 200 yards off of the trail, her arms and feet frostbitten, but thankfully she was still alive.
She was in an accident many, many years ago. She was missing for 3 days before they found her. And they found her, and so she still has a lot of wear and tear from that accident.
I was surprised that she survived the night and that she was in such good shape.
Rescuers say Jenny used tree branches to make a bed and to keep her away from the snow. She was definitely cold by the time search crews found her. She was rushed to a Boulder hospital where she is recovering this morning.
Yeah, it makes you think, what would you do, if you were in that situation? You pick up your phone, there's no service, there's nobody in sight,
Right.
You don't know where you are.
Your
What would you
survival
do?
instincts have to kick in, right? Your life depends on it. All right, 7:05 right now. New developments for airlines that use the same engine as the one that failed and caught fire over Broomfield last weekend.
Just trying to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. That's the goal here. The FAA says every plane using that specific Pratt & Whitney engine must be inspected before it can take flight again. The FAA asking operators to perform what they call thermal acoustic image inspection. The agency says the technology can detect cracks that can't be seen with the naked eye. We talked with a local aviation expert about the announcement. He says this is an expected reaction to what we saw on Saturday and shouldn't have a major impact to most people's plans.
United Airlines is the only operator of the 777 flying the Pratt & Whitney 4000 engine. And even then, it's just a small portion of their 777 fleet. Only 24 airplanes.
Now, earlier this week, we learned metal fatigue on a fan blade appears to be the cause of an engine failure on that United flight. 20 minutes after that failure, United 328 made a successful landing. Meantime, United Airlines releasing a statement reading in part, we've been working with the NTSB on its investigation and will comply with the FAA's emergency airworthiness directive to ensure all 52 of the impacted aircraft in our fleet meet our rigorous safety standards. Back here in Wednesday land, plows have just started, plows have just started to treat roads in the metro within the past hour, getting them prepped and ready on this pinpoint weather alert day. You can see this is the CDOT map that shows you where the plows are deployed right now. I anticipate, Megan, looking at the map, you see little orange plows kind of dotted. I don't know if we can zoom in. That's pretty wide there. It shows like the whole state. But there's little plows dotted on that map there. I'm presuming that by tomorrow it'll be filled with plows.
Oh, absolutely. So they're just out prepping the roads, getting ready for this system on the way. Fox 31's Dan DeRue joining us live from a Denver CDOT plow yard, where they are, again, getting ready for today's storm on this pinpoint weather alert day. Good morning, Dan.
Hey, good morning, guys. Nice to see you. You know, the trucks are not here because, just like you guys said, they are out prepping the roads. No snow now, but there will be later. And speaking of snow, just a little perspective here. You know, Denver's had 24 inches of snow so far this season. It sounds like a lot, maybe not. Normally, we get 34 inches by the end of the month. We're about 10 inches behind and have a few days to catch up. Hopefully, that'll happen tonight. Now, February should have about 7 inches of snow. So far, only about 4. Again, hopefully tonight will make up for that. Now, CDOT says bow to the plow. That's you, Cody. This is just a little FYI. This is kind of new now. It is now a Class A traffic offense to pass a snowplow with lights on and operating in a tandem formation. Tandem means more than 2 down the road with the lights on. You cannot pass those vehicles. Bow to the plow. Listen, give yourself, when you do see a plow, give yourself at least 4 car lengths. Don't tailgate these men and women on the roads. Passing on the right, not a good idea. Do not pass a snowplow on the right. However, you can legally pass a snow plow truck if the lights are off and there's just one of them, but you got to pass on the left. It's good information. Now, for more information, if you want to find out where those plows are, if they're anywhere in your part of the woods, you want to go to co-dot.gov. So it's not 2 dots, it's DOT and then .gov for information. So it's nice now, but the snow's coming, guys.
Thanks for the clarification there, Dan. Just one little dot might throw you
yeah,
off.
you got to know the rules before you go driving out there. I will say the good thing, Megan Brooks, about working from home is that I just don't plan on leaving my house in the next 24 hours. I'm just going to stay inside.
You don't care about the weather forecast. You're not even going to watch. I bet you're going to be like on Twitter.
I mean,
give my heart here, and you're just going to be like,
Just keep Kirk
I
in
don't
the
want to say I
basement
don't
right
care.
where he belongs.
Yeah, I'll just spend the next 24 hours stuck down here. Brooks, but it is something to be concerned with if you do have places to go, because the commute tomorrow morning or even this afternoon could be dicey.
Exactly. If you can't do the Chris Farley skit where he drinks the Hibernal, remember that giant bucket of NyQuil from the 80s to sleep away through the entire winter? Yeah, you got to drive carefully tomorrow. But this is one of those case in point days why the weather forecast is so important to catch on the daily right here on Fox 31 Morning News, because we've got the sunshine and a beautiful start to the day. I mean, there are no problems outside. It's perfect out there. I mean, it is absolutely spectacular. Let's be honest. I forgot my shades today. I'm bummed because I know I'm going to be going home like this, not being able to see. But listen, here's the scoop. We've got clouds moving in shortly after lunchtime and then snow to follow rapidly. So for the evening commute, things are going to deteriorate rapidly. So 37 today, 35 tomorrow, snow this evening, snow heavy at times overnight, and snow ending tomorrow morning. And we could look at a good 2 to 4 inches here across downtown Denver, maybe even more than that, depending on how this all lines up. But there's potential with this one where we could get a little bit more snow out of it, especially Metro West and Metro South. And by the way, we got winter weather advisories all the way down through the Springs and Pueblo that are, by the way, in effect right now. Our winter weather advisory today doesn't kick in until 5 p.m. with that snow on the way. But the reason that Pueblo and Colorado Springs are under it right now until 11 a.m. is because of a little bit of freezing drizzle. So if you're heading down that way, it could get slippery for you south of the Palmer Divide, south of Monument Hill. Just take it easy down there. Now, they have a second winter weather advisory in effect for the snow kicking in tonight as well, just like we do. But ours is for Larimer, Boulder, also Jefferson counties, and that is in effect, again, till 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. So we're looking at the snow developing this afternoon and this evening, and it's going to kick in with some force tonight. So 19 right now in Denver, on the way to 37, 11 degrees colder than normal. Sunshine to start, snow to finish in your forecast with those totals coming up in just minutes.
All right, thank you, Brooks. 7:11 right now. We'll check back in. Brooks is on tracking the forecast all morning long, obviously. Therapists and counselors are stretched thin right now, as you can imagine. Many Coloradans are having a hard time finding one.
But there are still options for people struggling with mental health.
Denver. This is Fox 31 News. We're on it.
Breaking news, this is big this morning. The FDA saying Johnson & Johnson's single-dose COVID vaccine is about 66% effective at stopping the virus or reducing the impact of the virus. Regulators say the shot is safe to use and could greatly speed up the pace of vaccinations. On Friday, regulators will debate on whether to recommend the shot, opening it up to a possible approval within the next week. Again, that brand new, just out moments ago, and just the next step in getting that vaccine, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, approved for use here in the U.S. The demand for mental health support has grown so much, of course, during the pandemic. Patients could hit a 2-month-long waiting list.
Fox 31's Kevin Torres joining us live from Denver this morning with the Problem Solvers Health Alert and what options are out there for Coloradans. Good morning, Kev.
Good morning, guys, and good morning, everyone. Since last March, when the pandemic really kicked off here in Colorado, the number of people seeking mental health treatment has skyrocketed, and doctors say it's not slowing down anytime soon.
The more specific the need or the more specific the request, the harder it is to find a provider to meet that need, right? If it was a general referral coming in for general counseling or therapy, we're looking at usually anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks.
Dr. Justin Ross is a clinical psychologist at UC Health and the director of employee well-being. He says the increased demand for mental health support has been a huge challenge for healthcare providers.
Personally speaking, we were already at capacity prior to the pandemic.
A recent survey from the American Psychological Association of nearly 1,800 psychologists shows 74% are seeing more patients with anxiety disorders compared to before the pandemic, and 60% are seeing more patients with depressive disorders.
And yet right now there's a shortage of mental health providers that can meet that demand.
Dr. Ross says for anyone needing mental health assistance right now, they shouldn't be discouraged. He says providers know there's a shortage of help, but they're working to fill the demand. He recommends the following.
Think about calling your insurance company, seeing if that's a viable option, so that maybe you're seeing a provider who's on another part of the country who maybe doesn't have as hard of a wait list time, but that can get you in quicker.
Again, looking to become a new patient here in Colorado could take up to 2 months on a waiting list. This all boils down, though, doctors say, to 4 major factors. We're going to dive deeper into those coming up around 7:45 this morning, guys. Back to you.
All right, Kevin, thank you. Interesting stuff there, and glad the resources and tools are available for those in need. Thanks. 7:17 right now. Hey, check out this picture of a bald eagle out on Bar Lake. This was sent to us by one of our viewers. Janine, thank you so much for sending that. What a sight that is. Glad that she
Have you ever seen have you seen a bald eagle in the wild here in Colorado, Megan?
Oh, yeah. On a branch up high, though, like just sitting there very stoic and majestic. But nothing like that. Wow.
Yes.
I mean, it
so
looks like the
cool.
eagle's
Very
just taking
cool.
a stroll in the park, doesn't it?
Just dipping its toes because the water's cold. And Brooks, the water is going to get even colder over the next 24 hours, isn't it?
Oh, yes. We've got snow on the way, so there might not be very much ice left as far as on the lake. It's going to be covered in snow. This pinpoint weather alert day going into effect this afternoon and tonight, and it's going to change fast. I mean, right now, it's sunny, it's beautiful. There are no problems, and there really won't be any problems until after about 4 o'clock today. But after that, and just like this, it is going to start to change. Live view from the Baxton Shaker Skycam Network, 25 by 8, 37 by 2, clouds developing, and snow to follow. That snow means business. It's not going to be an instant blanket, but it's going to happen within a couple of hours of its onset, which means that the second half of the evening commute is going to be rough. And then for tomorrow morning, it could be quite treacherous out there. Meanwhile, just look at that beautiful shot from Beaver Creek. Blue skies, bluebird skies, and bluebird like the eagle skies. And we've got a nice shot here from downtown. 19 degrees at DIA. Every time I see an eagle picture, I get that Fly Like an Eagle into the Future song in my head. Was that Steve Miller Band? Anyway, snow developing after 4 o'clock. Heavy at times overnight. Snow for the Thursday morning commute. The Pinpoint Weather app, great tool to have when the weather gets bad like this, because especially if you're traveling around the state, maybe you've got to run down to the Springs for an errand or go down to Pueblo to see some family. Freezing drizzle happening down there, a couple little spots, and that's making for some slick travel. They currently are under a winter weather advisory for that, for freezing drizzle, until 11 a.m. this morning, and then a second winter weather advisory kicks in this afternoon for the snow, and that's our first one. We're going to have just the snow version of that starting at 5 o'clock, lasting until 6 a.m. for the mountains and foothills of Larimer, Boulder, Jefferson, and also once you get into the Palmer Divide and into parts of Elbert County, 4 to 8 inches plus in those purple highlighted zones, with good 2 to 4 for Denver. Snow Snow breaking up by 4 o'clock, becoming heavy at times after dinner time between 7 and about 2 or 3 a.m. It could be heaviest. We could get at times an inch or two per hour across parts of the region. So once that kind of snow kicks in and sets in, that'll really get those interstates snow covered and those side roads snow covered as well, of course. And by tomorrow morning, we could be waking up, especially on those neighborhood roads, to about 5 or 6 inches of snow. Once we get into, that was me, by the way, that wasn't your phone giving a text message. Don't text me when I'm on TV. In any sense, we're going to be talking about that snow dissipating by 6 a.m. tomorrow, and then we're going to look at the sun coming back out. But for tomorrow morning, we're going to have some very treacherous travel around the region with a good 6 to 10 inches along the divide, especially east of the divide, mountains west of Boulder, up through Estes Park, down through Conifer. Now for Denver, very conservatively going for about 2 inches of snow, and the reason is that we've got some disagreement in the forecast models. It's all about some very subtle changes that could change our snowfall totals dramatically. At this point, it looks like we may lean toward the heavier, maybe around 4 inches in downtown Denver, up to 6 to 10 inches in the foothills to the west. So here's the bottom line. Even though it's beautiful now, today a pinpoint weather alert day for the incoming weather, and it's a very poignant one at that for tonight. And then for tomorrow morning, the residual effects, sun coming out during the afternoon. And then in the long-range forecast, looking at temperatures that are going to be below the normal high of 48 in times of snow chances. Guys, March our snowiest month, and we're getting a little February preview. Guys.
All right, it's coming. More of that on the way. Thank you, Brooks. Pedestrians and cyclists reclaim part of Denver's streets during the pandemic.
City workers now say it might stay that way.
And if you played the lottery out in Estes Park recently, check your tickets. There is a Powerball winner out there.
Live from Denver, this is Fox 31 News. We're on it.
All right, heads up here. Some traffic changes made in the city of Denver during the pandemic could actually stick around.
Well, and you may have noticed more orange barrels around the city if you've been in the city during the pandemic, aimed at slowing down drivers. They're trying to make the roads safer for cyclists and pedestrians. Obviously, a lot more people have been out and about jogging and bicycling, et cetera, et cetera. It's all part of the Shared Streets initiative that's set to expire at the end of winter. But we're learning that the city is thinking about keeping that initiative around. One aspect involved moving people off of sidewalks and into the road, asking drivers to share the road. If you're confused about how to navigate a specific intersection in your neighborhood, you can find that information on the free Fox 31 News app and over at Kdvr.com. Of course, the bigger question here is if and when traffic gets back to normal levels, if that's quite as easy to do. Exactly right.
How about this? A small mom and pop liquor store in Estes Park selling a Powerball ticket worth $500,000. Well, now the question remains, who won the ticket? Nobody's come forward yet. The owners say it's a toss-up. They've narrowed it down. It's either a local or a tourist. Rumors spreading that the store could get a cut of that money, but the Colorado Lottery tells us the liquor store won't get anything this time because the winning ticket only matched 4 of 6 numbers. If it had matched 5 out of the 6, that's when they'd get a cut. But hopefully whoever won comes forward. That's a big old chunk of change you don't want to miss out on.
I think I've been to that liquor store. Not recently. I didn't buy a lottery ticket there, but I think I went there and bought some liquor once.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
I know, right? 7:26 right now. 2020 was a weird year for everyone. I mean, I'm in my basement, for God's sakes, right? Even TSA agents had a weird year. They released a video showing the top catches of 2020 at U.S. airports, things they found in people's luggage. Among the weirder finds, knives hidden in a hollowed-out book, a homemade cigar humidor that looked like a pipe bomb, an iPod that was rigged with solar panels with exposed wires, and strangest of all, a dead baby shark preserved in chemicals that were deemed too dangerous to travel.
Can you imagine being that TSA agent, like, ma'am, sir, come with me? Like, can you explain the shark?
I remember back in the day when you could go all the way up to the gate. I wasn't traveling. I was just going with my dad as he was leaving for a trip or something. And I had a giant nickel, like this big. It was like this oversized nickel. It was in my pocket. And the metal detector went off, and I pulled out this giant nickel. It's just like, what is
So
that?
did they confiscate it, or did you get to keep it?
They let me keep it. No, this was back in the 90s. They let me keep it. Different rules back then.
I remember.
7:27 right now. Yeah, way back in the day. A would-be burglar hiding in the bushes with a machete. This is a bizarre story.
Yeah, that's what Boulder police are dealing with right now as they search for this strange suspect.
Denver, this is Fox 31 News at 7:30. We're on it.
This morning, Boulder police looking for a guy who's been threatening people near downtown Boulder. His weapon of choice, a machete.
And the FAA shaking things up following Saturday's fiery engine failure over Broomfield. What airlines now have to do before taking flight.
After 7:30 here on this Pinpoint Weather Alert Day. Hope your Wednesday's off to a great start. Thanks for hanging with us. I'm Megan O'Halloran.
And I'm Kirk Yonke, and if you look outside now, you're thinking it's not a Pinpoint Weather Alert Day. It's nice out this morning, but things are changing, and they're going to change this afternoon just in time for that afternoon commute. The question is, how much of an impact will it have on people driving home today, Brooks?
And the answer is exactly why we've got that Pinpoint Weather Alert. This is one of those days that we prove our value as far as being weather forecasters. You'd never know it stepping outside that we've got impending bad weather, but indeed a system moving in, and it's set to bring enough snow for the evening commute, Kirk, to maybe make travel a little bit slippery by 5 or 6, especially Metro West and Metro South. It looks like the first snow showers really beginning in the Denver metro area after 4 o'clock, but it's going to pick up pretty quickly. And after the sun gets pretty low in the sky, after about 5:15, 5:30, the snow will certainly start to stick on those side roads and then the shoulders and then the main lanes of travel after 7 o'clock. So especially for late commuters, it's going to be an issue. And coming up, we'll talk about those totals. Now, this morning, we've got winter weather advisories from the Springs to Pueblo and also up into the Front Range. Now, this for the Springs of Pueblo is for the possibility of some freezing drizzle this morning. And this for us is for snow this evening between 5 and 6 a.m., 5 p.m., 6 a.m., 4 to 8 inches possible in the purple areas, 2 to 4 for Denver. But already this morning, and it's not showing up on radar, but Colorado State Patrol and Lyman reporting flurries along I-70, and that is certainly a possibility. Again, not really showing up on radar, just a few clouds in the area, but certainly that possibility cannot be ruled out. Sunshine right now in Denver with 19 degrees, dew point 12. We've got about 26 in Parker, 25 degrees in Lyman, pinpointing a high today of 37. But just remember, this evening, things deteriorate rapidly, so that's why today is a Pinpoint Weather Alert Day.
All right, getting ready for it. Thank you, Brooks. 7:33 right now. Boulder police asking for your help this morning. They're searching for a would-be burglar who has apparently threatened his victims with a machete.
Yeah, big old knife, basically. Jim Hooley live at Boulder Police Headquarters this morning. And it sounds like police are a little worried about this guy out there, Jim.
Yeah, obviously, they've had 2 reports of this guy threatening people here in the downtown area over the past 48 hours, Kirk, and they believe there could be more cases of it out there that they just don't know about as of yet. So obviously, they want to find this guy. They're very concerned. Here's the very latest now on their investigation up here in Boulder this morning. Now, both incidents happening near downtown, again, over the past 48 hours. The first one on Monday night on Spruce Street. A man came out of his house, spotted a guy in the bushes. The suspect pulled out the machete out of his backpack and threatened the man before he got away. The other incident happened around 5 o'clock just last evening. And this time, some people discovered the suspect trying to burglarize their home on Grove Circle. Again, he pulled a machete out of his backpack, threatened the victims before this time he rode away on a bicycle. Here's a description of the guy that police are looking for now this morning. Police say he's a white man in his 30s. He's got a short, balding buzz cut, a short black beard, too, about an inch long. He's about 5'10", 5'11", 160 pounds. The victim said he smelled a lot like smoke, and he was wearing a black hat, black face mask, and a black ski coat. Obviously, police are concerned. They'd say he's armed, he's dangerous. If you see him, do not approach. But if you have any information whatsoever, at least about these 2 incidents that have occurred now over the past 48 hours, a man with a machete here in Boulder, please contact Boulder Police. Live in Boulder this morning at Police Headquarters, I'm Jim Hooley, Fox 31.
I definitely want to track that down. Thank you, Jim. Developing this morning, the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, making some changes following Saturday's fiery engine failure that rained down debris over Broomfield.
Oh, man, that was a close call. Glad everybody's okay. Fox 31's Drew Engelbart joining us live from the newsroom with how they're apparently shaking things up here. Good morning, Drew.
That's right. We're hearing something new from the FAA pretty much every day now. And now they're saying that airlines with the same engine, they're telling them what needs to be done to make sure the fan blades are okay to fly before those planes are back up in the air. This impacts all U.S. airlines with that specific Pratt & Whitney PW400 engine. So those engines must now be inspected before planes can take flight again. The FAA asking operators to perform what they call thermal acoustic image inspection, and the agency says that that technology can detect cracks that can't be seen with the naked eye. So we spoke with a local aviation expert about the announcement, who says this is an expected reaction to the events that we saw over the weekend, and it shouldn't have a major impact to air travel for now.
United Airlines is the only operator of the 777 flying the Pratt & Whitney 4000 engine. And even then, it's just a small portion of their 777 fleet, only 24 airplanes.
Did learn from the NTSB, and you saw a picture of it there a moment ago. Metal fatigue on a fan blade appears to be the cause of the engine failure on that United flight, although it still is under investigation. And by the way, those engines were previously inspected every 6,500 flight cycles. A flight cycle is a takeoff and a landing. So Kirk and Megan, every 6,500 flights is when they take a look at those engines. But now the FAA is saying you need to look at them now before they're allowed back up into the air.
Yeah, taking the extra and necessary precautions. They're glad to see some action being done. Thank you, Drew.
You got it.
Yeah, doing everything they can, obviously, to make sure it doesn't happen again. We're getting better perspective from the team that investigated the death of Elijah McClain after they answered questions from the news media yesterday. The panel of 3 experts independently reviewing the death of Elijah McClain have experience reviewing these types of police encounters across the country. They were tasked with making recommendations to improve policy.
It's not just one thing that's going to bring about change, and it's not going to be one report or one investigation. It's going to have to be a constant effort by the agency plus the community.
The report did not make a judgment of wrongdoing. With 7 other criminal and civil investigations ongoing, they would not say if the officers or first responders involved should be disciplined. Presentation Monday went long, so council members did not get an opportunity to ask the panel questions. There will be a follow-up meeting for those questions. No word on exactly when that'll happen.
A warehouse fire keeping firefighters pretty busy out in Denver's Rhino neighborhood. In fact, look at that heavy, thick, black smoke filling the air yesterday. Conditions pretty hard to work in. And between the thick smoke and the fierce fire, firefighters couldn't even get inside the building near 33rd and Walnut. Instead, they had to attack the flames from above using their fire truck ladders. The fire department says that it's unclear if this building was occupied at the time, and there are no word of any injuries.
As our crews work to extinguish the rest of the hot spots, our fire investigators will go in after it becomes safe.
As for a cause, still too soon to tell. Denver arson investigators were out on the scene, but that doesn't mean the fire was arson. We'll let you know as soon as we learn more. All right, 7:38. Let's get you going.
Right
on this Wednesday.
No, you go. You go.
Well, let's let Brooks go because it's a pinpoint weather alert, so he's going to time out this big system for us.
You got it, guys. Pinpoint weather alert day. So it's a beautiful morning, but things changing this afternoon. It's going to cloud up and the snow is going to follow. It could be heavy at times this evening for especially the second portion of the commute, but these roads, no problems this morning. Looking east, you see this little cloud right here on the horizon? Just got a report out of Lyman from Colorado State Patrol of a couple of flurries flying from there. So an early heads up. It's not going to stick, though. It's just too warm. Look at that sunshine here across the city. We're going to see 37 today, much cooler than yesterday when we were up around 60. Afternoon snow developing, morning snow tomorrow, high 35. So colder days ahead and impacting snow tonight. Welcome precipitation. We need it. We're in the midst of this extreme drought. Winter weather advisories up and down Colorado from Wyoming to New Mexico. Freezing drizzle this morning around the Springs and Pueblo, and that's resulting in a current winter weather advisory south of the Palmer Divide. But this one for our area here locally doesn't kick in until 5 o'clock, and it's for snow. From 5 p.m. till 6 a.m., 4 to 8 inches plus for the mountains and foothills of Larimer, Boulder, and Jefferson counties, as well as for the Palmer Divide and for western Alberta County. Now, here's a look at Lyman down I-70. A couple of flurries reported. This is mostly ground clutter, but it's conceivable that 1 or 2 snowflakes are falling from underneath that cloud. So just a heads up there. It's not going to accumulate, but if you see a stray flurry in the eastern plains, we're aware of it for sure. We're not expecting it to accumulate, but we will start to see accumulations once we get into the hours approaching sunset. Snow developing for the most part across the Front Range, not so much in the eastern plains. This is really going to be an event for the Front Range as far as the impacting snow goes. 24 in the Springs right now, warming up today to a high of 37. That's 11 degrees cooler than normal. And check it out. What a change, huh? Sunshine in the morning, clouds the afternoon, snow in the evening. Boy, good thing you got the weather forecast today for these changes. Now you're prepared. I'll have your update on the totals coming up after this. Guys?
Thank you, Brooks. Researchers say most of the unhappiness from the pandemic boils down to 4 major factors.
No, this is interesting. Psychologists say those factors, it's half the battle when it comes to being happier.
And you know those foldable phones that Samsung has released over the past few years? Now they're making an offer for those who are a little hesitant to commit to a phone with that new foldable technology.
Live from Denver, this is Fox 31 News. We're on it.
New survey from the American Psychological Association shows more people are seeking mental health support for issues like anxiety. Not a huge surprise during the pandemic.
Well, healthcare providers say there is not enough help to meet the demand, leading to long wait times. Fox 31's Kevin Torres joining us live from Denver this morning with more on today's Problem Solvers Health Alert. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, guys, and good morning, everyone. Yeah, doctors tell me over at UC Health that the wait time for new patients could stretch 4 to 8 weeks long. This as demand is just pent up, and there's not a lot of assistance available right now. But take a look for yourselves, because experts say they were already at capacity prior to the pandemic. They say this is the result of a few things. At the beginning of COVID, anxiety was the largest issue for Coloradans. Then it transitioned into depression. Now we're at the phase of burnout and fatigue, where everyone is just simply tired. There is a fourth factor also, doctors say, where this experience could turn into trauma for a lot of people.
You know, once life sort of resumes a bit more normalcy, we can't pretend that our mental health just sort of snaps back into place. We have to be prepared collectively to have these conversations with one another, right? To be able to have the shared narrative that this has been a struggle and that we're going to continue to struggle for a little while, and that's okay.
Dr. Ross believes some emotional scars will last a lifetime for many Coloradans. In the meantime, he says providers are working hard to expand their support services, and anyone in need of mental health support shouldn't be discouraged by this. And guys, while we are at that fatigue and tiredness stage right now, as he mentioned, the first two, anxiety and depression, those never stopped. He said those just continue to roll over and kind of bundle it all up into one. So, yeah, a lot of people out there needing some mental health support services here in our state, guys.
Oh, yeah. A lot of, unprecedented times for sure. Kevin, I know you've been coping by buying more plants. Is that helping?
You know, it kind of does. The plant therapy, you know, is one of the things that I read up early on in the pandemic, and I'll tell you, they keep me company.
Well, if you whisper sweet nut things to them, you know, they'll grow, right? A little secret. Little green
well, and classical music too.
Oh, you play music for your plants? What a treat.
Just classical.
Kevin's apartment. Kevin's apartment is an interesting place. Thank you, Kevin.
The Amazon rainforest.
I think 7:46. Let's get over to Brooks, who's watching your weather. And obviously, we are in a pinpoint weather alert day, not impacting us yet, but it's going to be coming this afternoon, and you want to be ready for it.
Yep. It is a heads up kind of a pinpoint weather alert day, and this is for this evening. We want to give you the heads up because it's going to happen during kind of the evening commute time period, and so you're going to be at work and then maybe thinking about heading home 4 or 5 o'clock. That's when the snow begins, and it could come down at a pretty good clip around that time. It's conceivable, especially as we head toward say 5:30, 6 o'clock. Once the sun starts to set, the snow will pretty quickly start to stick to the roadway. So want to give you an early heads up that you're not caught off guard heading into work. Things are groovy right now. We've got a couple of clouds on the horizon though. Live view from the Baxton Shaker Skycam network. Clouds generally increasing today, and indeed we've seen a few flurries from under those clouds this morning in the eastern plains. Forecasting a high of 37 with clouds continuing to increase, and then snow developing, snowing with some urgency once we head toward dinner time tonight with temperatures falling well below freezing. Right now, not a cloud in the sky, but Beaver Creek, just a gorgeous shot there and a beautiful shot here from this Baxton Shaker Skycam view. 19 degrees at DIA. So snow is developing after 4 o'clock. And by snow, I'm talking about the kind that can accumulate, not the flurries that may happen before 4 o'clock. Heavy at times overnight. Snow for tomorrow morning's commute. It's going to be a really treacherous one. That pinpoint weather app coming in handy for today, especially. And if you're traveling down to the Springs, down to Pueblo, freezing drizzle possibility. And you know what? We're looking at some snow potential here between 4 and 8 inches in the purple highlighted areas, including the foothills in the mountains, Metro West, as well as the Palmer Divide from 5 p.m. till 6 a.m. All right, so here's the skinny on what's going on in the eastern plains. Flurries reported by Colorado State Patrol in Lyman. Not accumulating, just flurries. Just a heads up that, yeah, you may see a few flakes flying, also up around Agate. Now, because we've gotten ground confirmation that these very weak radar echoes are indeed verifying as flurries reaching the ground, I can therefore deduce, hold on, I got to put my glasses on here, around Kiowa and Castle Rock, you could also see a few snow flurries falling, that action working up toward Bennett. Also, of course, down toward the Springs for some more flurry action. So we're going to see the snow really kicking in once we get into 4, 5, 6 o'clock this evening. Snowing basically all night tonight and then finally dissipating before dawn tomorrow. Most of the action, though, should stick to the Denver area, and by stick, I'm talking snow as well as the forecast. Lyman might get 3 inches, but you know, Denver out toward Fort Collins and westward, a good 3 to 4 inches, and we could even see up to maybe 10 or 11 inches in the foothills. Some of these spots around maybe Netherland, Jamestown. Once you get up into the foothills and mountains west of Boulder, probably the highest amount of snow. Tentatively kind of a conservative 2 to 3 inches for Denver, but we could easily be a little bit north of that. So here's your forecast today. Today, a pinpoint weather alert day, and tomorrow as well. Tomorrow, the snow ending around dawn, but the effects will be residual from the overnight snow, making for a treacherous morning commute through at least mid-morning tomorrow before things improve. Sunshine Friday, followed by another chance for snow Saturday night, Sunday, and Monday, although much lower snow chances. That said, March is our snowiest month of the year here in Denver, and Monday is March 1st, so buckle up. Today's a little preview of that party to come, guys.
Thank you, Brooks. 7:49 right now. Let's check your tech news. If you've ever lived in Arizona or California, even Oregon, you've probably stepped foot in a Fry's electronics store. Many of us tech heads have shopped online at frys.com. It's a superstore for technology. Sadly, though, this company closing all of its stores overnight, even shutting down the website this morning, posting this message to customers. This came as a surprise to both shoppers and employees being notified on Tuesday night. Heck, I got an email just yesterday with a coupon code and a whole bunch of stuff that was on sale. Good thing I didn't buy any of that stuff. Fry's citing changes in the retail industry as well as challenges posed by the pandemic. The store has been around for 35 years. You know those foldable phones from Samsung? They look cool. The Z Flip 5G and the Z Fold 2. But I don't think anybody would be surprised if many shoppers are a little nervous or hesitant about committing to such a new technology. Samsung now offering a new buy and try program for those foldable phones. You'll now have 100 days to try either of those two models out before you decide if you actually want to keep it. You can just return it at day 99 if you want. This is the first time Samsung has offered a program like this for any of its mobile devices. Previously, you only had about 15 days to return a Samsung phone. But you know, I could see why that would be. You know, they're expensive. You pay a premium because it's a new technology. And you know, it's getting there, but it's not proven yet. And so I could see people saying, I'm going to stick with the classic phone, and maybe this trial will give people a chance to test it out.
Wait for the reaction and then make up your mind, right? Just sit back, hold tight. 7:51 right now. A local man fighting his HOA over the right to fly a flag. Now he's suing, all with the help of the ACLU.